Howdy Tamers, and welcome to the reading of Digimon Liberator Debug Chapter 11 Part 2. Similar to my previous readings, I'm not a professional voice actor and I'm just one person doing their best. So if the voices change episode to episode, I'm just doing the best that I can. I recommend still heading to the official release on DigimonCard.com if this is your primary way of consuming the Liberator web novel. Partially so Bandai still gets the site visits, but also because each chapter, like Digimon Seekers, has art. Liberator also has actual visuals of any new card that's mentioned. While the mechanics are included in the reading, if you want to see the card itself, head over to the official novel release on DigimonCard.com. And with all that out of the way, let's continue on to Digimon Liberator Debug Chapter 11 Part 2. Debug Chapter 11 Part 2. The most appealing part of Digimon Liberator? Few would contest that it's seeing Digimon themselves in fierce battles, with the sense of being there that VR provides. What's more, almost every Digimon appears in the battle area at the size that you would expect. Actually, it goes further than that. The sizes of digital monsters are based on digital life forms that actually exist. The sizes you see are completely accurate because they are based on the real thing. The only exceptions are a few Digimon too enormous to depict at a faithful scale. Digimon modelled after warships or fortresses like Bulbmon and Gigaseedramon, those that carry entire cities or land masses upon their backs, like Eldoradimon or King Waymon, or overwhelming beings almost too big to comprehend, such as Examon and Leviamon. Rendering Digimon like this at a full size would risk destabilising the Liberator servers, or even the very environment of Lacuna itself. To mitigate this, the game employs workarounds, such as scaling them down or only showing portions of their bodies on the battlefield. And, on the battlefield today, one such Digimon is present. Looking through the eyes of the NPC, Omekamon gazes up at the scaled down, yet still incredibly large being. 37 meters, it's pushing the limits of the battle area, but it should be okay. Omekamon remembers Coolboy's advice to the developers, who had struggled to figure out how to best represent the weapon-laden behemoth. Some of the developers were puzzled by the oddly specific figure, but he grinned mischievously and said, 37 meters is the length of a space shuttle. It's a fitting number for a Digimon who belongs amid the stars. Coolboy put it in such an endearing way, but this, Omekamon murmured, eyes fixed on the towering figure in the battle area. What loomed before him was not merely threatening. It was a construct that had absorbed every weapon imaginable, an embodiment of destruction itself. A doomsday star orbiting through the skies above, GalacticMon. I'll have to tell him that this one might be a little bit too big. You think so? I think it's just fine. Zenith answered Omekamon's remark with a disarmingly pleasant smile. Now, pay attention, Omekamon. GalacticMon may be an incredible sight, but your eye should be elsewhere. The future champion's turn is about to start, so you'd best not even blink. As advised by the theatrically gesticulating Zenith, Omekamon looked at the playing field. The NPC's Royal Knight deck is based around King Drasil 7d6. King Drasil is in the breeding area with 3 King Drasil 3 Royal Knight cards and Omekamon as Digivolution cards. Galatmon stands in the battle area. Its dual removal and recovery effect has given the NPC 6 security cards. Also awaiting activation are Royal Knights of the Purge and the Last Guardian. Zenith, on the other hand, spent his previous turns focusing on removal-based control and building up GalacticMon's evolution chain. His strategy hinges on the large number of Vemon cards in his deck, which are intended to serve as Digivolution cards. This is enabled by the effects of cards like Snatchmon, thus setting up the likes of Destromon, which has a devastating de-Digivolve ability. You're down to just 2 security cards, Zenith. Once my turn begins, I'll have everything in position to take you down. Zenith looked bemused, then chuckled loudly. Surely you don't mean that. Are you trying to hype this up, Omekamon? Yes, to the best of my ability. Although, to be frank, this is a clear losing board, to use the popular term. And with you as the opponent, the NPC's chances of winning go from low to almost 0. Having laughed loud and long, Zenith just gave an exaggerated shrug. That was pretty funny. Still, I prefer a last-ditch struggle to a silly joke. Very well, if you insist. As Omekamon's voice echoed across the field, the NPC's eyes flickered with static. Autonomous control ended. Omekamon has taken direct command. Zenith raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised. He'd expected to be brushed off again, like with Cool Boy earlier. Seriously? You're actually going for it? Yes. Attempting to simulate Cool Boy's thought process was a failure. The NPC's skill level is nowhere near his, so it's natural that he'd be unsatisfied. You think you'll do any better? I'm no match for a force of nature, and I can see that the odds are stacked against me. But still. Omekamon's voice was monotone yet resounding, no longer theatrical. It was now focused on the dire situation on the playing field, where it could still detect a glimmer of hope. If you're careless enough to give me another turn, I will win. At that, Zenith's lips curved ever so slightly. It wasn't enough. Not the sharp sting, the gleaming edge he craved. The thrill he sought still hadn't surfaced, but even so. You get it right, Galacticmon. We have new prey. Galacticmon's roar indicated its harmony with its partner. The two shared the same idea of what constituted strength and weakness. Good. The order is the same as always. Don't waste time playing with your food. Now, how will Zenith use his memory? Digimon Liberator Side Story, Debug, Chapter 11, Part 2, Rods from God. At the start of my main phase, I activate Galacticmon's effect, deleting Gallantmon. Zenith's final turn began with a straightforward effect declaration. His cold, blade-like voice was the trigger for Galacticmon's space laser. It promptly blasted force from the Digimon's head and down at the dumbstruck Royal Knight. With a last-second reflex, it blocked the laser with its Holy Aegis shield, to no avail. The enormous right arm of its adversary, or rather its hunter, sweeps in, and its Chrome Digizoid armour is torn apart by shuttle scissors. Destruction accomplished like a routine procedure, this was exactly Zenith's style. He didn't stop to admire or comment and simply moved on to his next action. I'm following up with a tamer card, one I'm pretty fond of. I've given quite a few copies to people already, and I figure there'll be a premium version within a month or two. Given your impressive popularity of late, I suspect that such a version exists already. No matter how smooth, flattery won't save you. Now go, Galacticmon! At the snap of his fingers, Galacticmon started up, with so many weapons at its disposal. It usually needs no preparation time. Its choice of weapon depends on what is most efficient, based on the enemy's location. However, one situation is different. When it has a vital target clearly in its sights, it will build up an all-scorching heat within its still body. Deep within its chest, energy began to gather. It started as a raging red flame, then surged into a great incandescent beam of light. Ragnarok Cannon, fire! A 1-2 punch. Already in the battle area was an option card that synced with Galacticmon's attack. It usually deletes Digimon, but with none in Omekamon's battle area, its wrath was redirected to the security stack. A blinding beam engulfed the field, an orbital hammer of divine punishment raining down. The intense blaze annihilated 5 security cards, leaving only 1. The NPC's visual feed was overloaded with static, and Omekamon physically flinched. Leaving you with 1 security card isn't an act of mercy. Think of it as a hunter staring down prey before the final blow. Once Galacticmon has locked onto you from orbit, there's no escape. Omekamon gave no reply to the triumphant Zenith. It was as if the smell of unavoidable defeat was in the air. The hand of Omekamon's NPC twitched slightly. Immediately noticing, Zenith's lips curled upward, unable to suppress his anticipation. An NPC would never do this. A kind of move that's decided before you can think, brought about by immense pressure, immense destruction, and the visceral presence of Galacticmon. This was the kind of instinctual move only a formidable player makes. The kind of move Zenith loved to see. Yeah, that's more like it, show me! I will. I'm a wounded animal now, and I take it you're ready for what's coming your way, Supernova. As Omekamon spoke, King Drasil 76 lit up the breeding area. The cold silver-white host computer issued a calculated order. The enemy here is an unrivaled threat. The Royal Knights shall deploy to defeat it. As my security stack was removed from, I'm able to activate my own inherited effect to play my card from King Drasil's Evolutions cards. As Omekamon arrived in the battle area, it began to glow bluish-white. Now for my effect. As I have one security card, I can Digivolve to Omni X Antibody in my hand. Being able to ignore Digivolution conditions really is gratifying. The pale blue radiance split apart, and out came a resplendent white Holy Knight. Its right arm is a draconic sword, and its left a bestial cannon. With these weapons, this ultimate Holy Knight is capable of obliterating any foe, and that is why it's called multi-type. Its grandeur made Zenith let out a low whistle. Omni X Antibody, huh? It's quite the sight. It is more than just a sight. It means the demise of your Galacticmon, which is sent back to your deck thanks to its when Digivolving effect. Appearing threatened, Galacticmon unleashed its entire arsenal to take down the heroic knight. But, to Omni X Antibody, the barrage was little more than noise. With Omni in force, the ability to instantly read and respond to every move, it dodged, countered, and cleaved through the attacks. And at last the blade reached Galacticmon's chest, piercing straight through. A hush fell over the battle area. The first to notice the anomaly was Omekamon. Omni X Antibody's transcendent sword was glowing hot, its surface etched with luminous digicode, signaling the activation of its ultimate ability, All Delete. And yet, despite a power meant to erase everything it touched, Galacticmon showed no sign of reacting. All Delete had indeed activated. The moment Omnimon's blade touched Galactimon's body, annihilation began. But it wasn't fast enough. Even as deletion tried to consume it, Galacticmon was restoring itself even faster. Circuits, code, and alloy knit themselves together like sentient microorganisms, rapidly sealing over the damage. Zenith broke the silence, confidently declaring an effect. Galacticmon's ability. I return 4 Vemon to the bottom of the deck and it stays on the field. And now, the analysis is complete. Isn't it, Galacticmon? Galacticmon's true threat isn't its arsenal, nor its towering body. It's how it can absorb any attack and learn it, making it its own. There's no malice behind it, nor resentment. This is simply Galacticmon feeding. And now, through the transcendent sword still embedded in its core, the power of All Delete begins to flow backward, travelling straight into Omnimon X Antibody. I activate my Tamer card's effect. By sending 2 Vemon from Galacticmon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, I force your Digimon to de-Digivolve. Still struggling with the reflected All Delete, Omnimon X Antibody was engulfed in light. In the next moment, it was Omekamon again. Next, Snatchmon's inherited effect. Since Vemon returned to the bottom of the deck, Galactimon unsuspends and gains blocker. Now then, security check. Heeding the command, Galacticmon unleashed another Ragnarok cannon, shattering the last remaining security card. Omekamon checked, gave a silent shake of his head, and looked up. There was Galacticmon, already poised to strike again. Calm, methodical, as if the intense clash with the Holy Knight had never even happened. Impressive as always, Zenith. You fought well too, Omekamon, so make sure you watch. Raising a single finger to the sky, he gave the final order. This is how the strong do battle. Thanks a lot, Omekamon. That turned out to be quite a fine tune-up. With the battle over, Zenith called out toward the overhead system, clearly in high spirits. I'm glad to hear it, although to avoid a misunderstanding, you should know that Coolboy's capabilities are far beyond mine. In that case, put in a word for me, will you? Ask him for just one match. I cannot do that. Omekamon, who moments ago had spoken with a trace of warmth, had returned to his usual flat mechanical tone. Zenith could only shrug. Wow, stingy? Well, if that's the kind of partnership you two have, I won't push it any further. He muttered this under his breath, barely audible. Not like I'm interested in that guy's an opponent anymore anyway. With the match concluded, Vermon came dashing up to Zenith, clearly satisfied with its battle against a worthy foe. It didn't wait for a word from its tamer, and quietly returned to the D-storage. Watching this, Omekamon murmured, "So, that's the kind of partnership you two have, Zenith." "That's right, I use Vermon to win efficiently, and with this arrangement, Vermon gets to fight elite opponents it couldn't otherwise. What's the problem?" If Coolboy were here, he would say it. Even if the two of them are satisfied with the arrangement, Zenith's stance goes against the Debug team's philosophy. They couldn't force him to change, but it would be a problem if he voiced such views openly with the others. Omekamon felt he should explain on his partner's behalf, but exercised restraint. "Then do your best not to disappoint Vermon. I'll be watching your future matches with interest." He kept it polite, giving a warning with a hint of irony. Naturally. Perhaps he caught the undertone, but in any case, he just grinned. "Make sure you keep your eyes on me. I'm about to rise to the very top of the Digimon card game. I'll defeat him." He repeated this to himself again and again. To be continued. And that is it for another part of Digimon Liberator. Again, Chapter 11 is in 3 parts, so next will be Chapter 11 Part 3, and then after that is just Chapter 12, which is just a single part on its own. So thank you so much for listening. You can contact me and stay updated. Leave a comment on this episode on YouTube to join the conversation. And for a full list of ways to find the podcast across the internet, such as YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and, when it's working, Twitter, head over to Linktree, which is linktr.ee/LostinTranslationmon. If you enjoy the podcast or videos or even my silly little posts online, you can show support by signing up on Patreon and get some cool rewards and help me hit some milestones. Thank you to my current supporters on Patreon, which is Stephen Reeves, who is Wildman64 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Lismet, who is Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who's on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Droppymon, Vmon Tamer, Kasai, Big Bad Beetleborg, Flavin, Maruna, Benta Archer, Cappy, Cyber, and Voltic Halberd. You can also make a one note on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon. You can also donate to me on my Coffee account, which is ko-fi.com/Airdra. And again, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening/watching this on YouTube, like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell your enemies. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!